what I think with God. My mind holds only what I think with God. My mind holds only what I think with God. There is no love but God's. There is no love but God's. The world I see holds nothing that I want. Well, thank you all so much for joining me today in studying A Course in Miracles, workbook for students, and the text. Our lesson today is a review of lesson 127 and 128 from the publication printed by Foundation for Inner Peace workbook, A Course in Miracles, here on May the 23rd of 2024, being a Thursday this year. And I'm Miracle Willie, forgiveness teacher from the Ozarks. Let's see, I was trying to describe to somebody the other day who I am, and I told them I was and I've been saying this to anybody that's interested for years, that I'm a Native American Christian yogi. And I said I like to qualify some of those words, but basically the word Christian, I'm what I consider to be a non-judgmental Christian. The metaphysics of love, non-judgment. Anyway, let's take a look at the lesson. Remember, we're to take 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes at night and hang out with the idea, my mind holds only what I think with God. During that 5 minutes, I'd encourage you not to really try to think about the two associated ideas. I mean, you can if you want, but what he's wanting us to do is get a real good, at least I feel like this is what happens with me anyway. I come into a substance, a place of recognizing that my mind holds only what I think with God. Everything else is a nightmare, a dream, something to wake up from. And once you've got into that place, which is maybe the highest reach that you can reach at that moment, you then introduce the ideas for the day as a review. There is no love but God's, and the world I see holds nothing that I want. Okay, so, and then do that in the morning and the evening. 5 minutes with the first idea, my mind holds only what I think with God. Then, another 5 minutes with the associated ideas if you need a time on it. But if you don't need a time, just know that that's kind of where it's... you don't have to have a time on that second portion. He said that's what time is for, is to hang out with these ideas. Okay? All right, well, let's take a look at, and then throughout the day, every hour of the day, tell yourself, my mind holds only what I think with God. You might do it the kind of way we did this song just a while ago. Think of it, say it to yourself 2 or 3 times, and settle into it, and then recall or look at, read out, have it in your card if you need it, in your pocket, but tell yourself, there is no love, there is no love but God's. My friend Steve Weldon yesterday said, all love is unconditional love. That's the only kind of love there is unconditional love. And I like that way of looking at it. It's saying the same thing here. There is no love but God's. All love is God's love, and it's all maximal. There's not different kinds of love. There's just all, unconditional love. That's what love is. Okay, let's see. And then the other idea for today is the world I see holds nothing that I want. Wow, can we get to that place where we're looking at the eternal in everyone and not looking at what we can get from others? And see just the eternal, see God, see love in our brothers and sisters, and in our horses, and everything. Okay. Our text reading for today is the Holy Instant, chapter 15, and we're ready for section 9, the Holy Instant and the Attraction of God. And while you're turning there, let's see what all's going on around the world today. Well, it's full moon. It's the flower moon. It'll be at 9:53 a.m. I suppose that'd be 9:53. You know, I didn't figure out I didn't look to see if that's Greenwich Mean Time or Central Time or what. So you have to do your checking on that. But anyway, not that it makes maybe a lot of difference to most of us. The fact that we know what day full moon is probably plenty substantial. It's the full moon of Vesak, and Vesak is that particular full moon is the day of Vesak, or Vesak, I'm not sure how to pronounce this, which is a Buddhist celebration holiday, which is the moon, the full moon when Buddha was born, had his enlightenment, and his passing. So it's a celebration of Gautama, Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha. So the day of Vesak, or Vesak. And then, like I mentioned yesterday, the declaration of the Bab, which starts at sundown yesterday, and it's today, which is a Bahai celebration. Eat more fruits and vegetables day. Well, that sounds like a really good thing to, if you don't eat a lot of them, start eating a bunch of vegetables particularly, but fruits too. And in the form of, in raw, they're so healthful for us, or lightly steamed. Eat more fruits and vegetables, steamed vegetables, or raw vegetables, what I was speaking about. Fruits, they're easy to eat raw. International Day to End Obstetric Fistula. International Turtle Day. And did you know that the alligator snapper turtle is actually an endangered turtle? So when I was a kid, we used to eat them. I'd go down to the creek and catch them and cook them up. They say they had 9 different kinds of meat, pork and hamburger, and it's all kinds of, you could get 9 different kinds of meat out of an alligator snapper. Anyway, I wouldn't do that anymore. And I haven't done it for years, actually. They're the Macrochelys is the genus. Timoniki, I think, is how to pronounce the species of the, which is the local alligator snappers of the Ozarks. The biggest ones they found was 211 pounds, 30 inches long. 2.5 foot long. That's a pretty good sized snapping turtle. I've seen some pretty big, about that size, but maybe not that big. The Lucky Penny Day, National Taffy Day, World Crohn's and Colitis Day, and World Turtle Day. And I found most of those on holidaysandobservances.com. And the Nanking White Bush Cherry out of Edible Landscaping. The Nanking White Bush Cherry, it's a Prunus tomentosa, and a white fruiting form of the Nanking Bush Cherry, tastes like the red one, only milder and sweeter, but fruits are white and attractive. We will have 3 varieties available: the Gabe, the Ian, and the Jules, spaced 6 to 8 feet apart, zones 3 through 7. And for some reason, I've got the idea that people use those as a hedge. I wasn't able to find that. I didn't look at it real close, though, but I think they'd make a beautiful hedge, though. Different varieties of those Nankings, so they'd pollinate each other and provide fruit. Okay, let's take a look now at the Holy Instant and the Attraction of God. And before we go there, once again, my mind holds only what I think with God. There is no love but God's. The world I see holds nothing that I want. So in chapter 15, section 9, the Holy Instant and the Attraction of God. As the ego would limit your perception of your brothers to the body, so would the Holy Spirit release your vision and let you see the great rays shining from them, so unlimited that they reach to God. the great rays. You know, everybody talks about that so many oftentimes on the other side in those NDEs, they can't hardly even make out the face of those holy ones or the Christ or whoever it is that comes to them. They just see them as brilliant light. Well, those are the great rays, I think. Again on that sentence, as the ego would limit your perception of your brothers through the body, so would the Holy Spirit release your vision and let you see the great rays shining from them, so unlimited that they reach to God. It is this shift to vision that is accomplished in the holy instant, yet it is needful for you to learn just what this shift entails, so you will become willing to make it permanent. Given this willingness, it will not leave you, for it is permanent. Once you have accepted it as the only perception you want, it is translated into knowledge by the part that God Himself plays in the atonement, for it is the only step in it He understands. Okay, let's again on this. Given this willingness, it will not leave you, for it is permanent. Once you have accepted it as the only perception you want, it is translated into knowledge by the part that God Himself plays in the atonement, for it is the only step in it He understands. Therefore, in this there will be no delay when you are ready for it. God is ready now, but you are not. Let's hasten the time when we're ready, because God's already ready to translate us from ignorance to knowledge, to see the great rays that everyone sees, or I expect everyone. I can't really say that for sure at this point myself, but you know, it appears like we see those great rays when so many people, let me put it that way, see it in those NDEs they talk about. Paragraph 2. Our task is but to continue as fast as possible the necessary process of looking straight at all the interference and seeing it exactly as it is. So our task is to continue as fast as possible the necessary process of looking straight at all the interference and seeing it exactly as it is. For it is impossible to recognize as wholly without gratification what you think you want. The body is the symbol of the ego, as the ego is the symbol of the separation, and both are nothing more than attempts to limit communication, and thereby to make it impossible. For communication must be unlimited in order to have meaning, and deprived of meaning, it will not satisfy you completely. Yet it remains the only means by which you can establish real relationships, which have no limits, having been established by God. In the holy instant where the great rays replace the body in awareness, the recognition of relationships without limits is given you. But in order to see this, it is necessary to give up every use the ego has for the body, and to accept the fact that the ego has no purpose you would share with it. For the ego would limit everyone to a body for its own purposes, and while you think it has a purpose, you will choose to utilize the means by which it tries to turn its purpose into accomplishment. This will never be accomplished, yet you have surely recognized that the ego, whose goals are altogether unattainable, will strive for them with all its might, and will do so with the strength that you have given it. Paragraph 4. We're going to learn to process away all those seeming needs that we believe the ego can gratify us with, or that it wants to offer us. You know, its allegiance instead of the great rays. Paragraph 4. It is impossible to divide your strength between heaven and hell, God and the ego, and release your power to creation, which is the only purpose for which it was given you. Love would always give increase. Limits are demanded by the ego, and represents its demands to make little and ineffectual. Limit your sight of a brother to his body, which you will do as long as you would not release him from it, and you have denied his gift to you. His body cannot give it, and seek it not through yours. Yet your minds are already continuous, and their union need only be accepted, and the loneliness in heaven is gone. So he's saying that our bodies can't connect us in reality anyway, but that our minds are already connected. And so see your joy in fellowshipping with your brothers and sisters in mind. Paragraph 5. And I might just say that even in mind, the body has a usefulness. It's a tool that the mind uses. And we want to follow the Holy Spirit's use of the body and not, give it a value from the ego's perspective that we enliven it with. It becomes an idol in that respect. Paragraph 5. If you would but let the Holy Spirit tell you of the love of God for you and the need your creations have to be with you forever, you would experience the attraction of the eternal. No one can hear him speak of this and long remain willing to linger here, for it is your will to be in heaven, where you are complete and quiet, in such sure and loving relationships that any limit is impossible. Would you not exchange your little relationships for this? For the body is little and limited, and only those whom you would see without the limits the ego would impose on them can offer you the gift of freedom. Paragraph 6. You have no conception of the limits you have placed on your perception, and no idea of all the loveliness that you could see. But this you must remember: the attraction of guilt opposes the attraction of God. His attraction, let's see, since he wants us to remember, let's read it again. You have no conception of the limits you have placed on your perception, and no idea of all the loveliness that you could see. Wow, the beauty, the feeling of love, the feeling or the knowledge, the awareness of goodness, of beauty, of love. He says we don't even have a conception of it. You have no conception of the limits you have placed on your perception, and no idea of all the loveliness that you could see. But this you must remember: the attraction of guilt opposes the attraction of God. So if you see someone as wrong, that's going to kick you out of heaven. Yeah, that's a manner of speech. You can't really be kicked out of heaven. But you can feel like you are. You'll feel like you're in hell. You'll see something that'll make you frown and make you want to retreat, and you'll want to blame, and all the terrible things that the ego is so good at doing to keep itself alive, I might add. But this you must remember: the attraction of guilt opposes the attraction of God. His attraction for you remains unlimited, but because your power, being his, is as great as his, you can turn away from love. Wow, he's given us free choice completely. What you invest in guilt, you withdraw from God. So if you ever wonder why you're not seeing God, it's because you're so invested in seeing guilt or wrongness. So his attraction for you remains unlimited, because your power, being his, is as great as his. You can turn away from love. What you invest in guilt, you withdraw from God. And your sight grows weak and dim and limited, for you have attempted to separate the Father from the Son and limit their communication. Seek not atonement in further separation, and limit not your vision of God's Son to what interferes with his release, and what the Holy Spirit must undo to set him free. For his belief in limits has imprisoned him. When the body ceases to attract, this is the last paragraph. When the body ceases to attract you, and when you place no value on it as a means of getting anything, then there will be no interference in communication, and your thoughts will be as free as God's. As you let the Holy Spirit teach you how to use the body only for purposes of communication, and renounce its use for separation and attack, which the ego sees in it, you will learn you have no need of a body at all. Wow, can we learn that? Can we recognize we have no need of a body at all? Like I said, it's a tool that the mind uses for learning lessons and for service, for doing good in the world. As you let the Holy Spirit teach you how to use the body only for purposes of communication, and renounce its use for separation and attack, which the ego sees in it, you will learn you have no need of a body at all. In the holy instant, there are no bodies, and you experience only the attraction of God. Accepting it as undivided, you join Him wholly in an instant, for you would place no limits on your union with Him. Again on that. Accepting it as undivided, you join Him wholly in an instant, for you would place no limits on your union with Him. The reality of this relationship becomes the only truth that you could ever want. All truth is here. I feel like we need to read that last paragraph once again. Make sure we maybe get a little better. And of course, I would encourage you always to go back and reread these. I mean, it kind of depends on your level of learning and how much you're getting out of it. If it's boring and it's hard to understand, well, maybe just a quick reading, listening to me is all that you need. But as you begin to grow, you're going to probably find, particularly if you find A Course in Miracles really inspiring to you, you may find that you need to read it many more times than just one quick reading through. When the body ceases to attract you, and when you place no value on it as a means of getting anything, then there will be no interference in communication, and your thoughts will be as free as God's. As you let the Holy Spirit teach you how to use the body only for purposes of communication, and renounce its use for separation and attack, which the ego sees in it, you will learn you have no need of a body at all. In the holy instant, there are no bodies. We're going to reach that place where we see what's going on without our bodies. In the holy instant, there are no bodies, and you experience only the attraction of God. Accepting it as undivided, you join Him wholly in an instant, for you would place no limits on your union with Him. The reality of this relationship becomes the only truth that you could ever want. All truth is here. Wow. So we're learning to be free of the body. Okay, well, I think we're ready to sing our song once again. And this time I would encourage you, use it as the springboard for one of your 5-minute meditations even. This last little part of the song. And then after I've quit playing, you can kind of meditate a little longer. And our word for peace that we're going to use today is from Iran, the Farsi language of Persia, ancient Persia. And it's Solh. I think that's how it's pronounced. Solh. S-O-L-H. Solh. My mind holds only what I think with God. My mind holds only what I think with God. My mind holds only what I think with God. My mind holds only what I think with God. with God. My mind holds only what I think with God. My mind holds only what I think with God. My mind holds only what I think with God. Ooh. There is no love but God's. 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 The world I see holds nothing that I want. The world I see holds nothing that I want. My mind holds nothing. My mind holds only what I think with God. There is no love but God's. There is no love but God's. The world I see holds nothing that I want. My mind holds only what I think with God. There is no love but God's. The world I see holds nothing that I want. Solh.